Hey everyone, welcome back to the Everton Career Mode. It's Season 2, Episode 4, and before we get started here, I just want to give an update on what's been going on with me and what I plan for my channel in 2022. Now, I haven't uploaded in a while, guys, and that's because I came down with COVID early in December, and it's been holding me pretty much up until now. I've been feeling better the past few days, but it has honestly been impossible. I've had no energy to edit or record. And both my parents are in the hospital with COVID, so please keep them in your thoughts. It really has been just a very difficult time for me. But like I said, I am back now. Maybe slowly at first for this week, but in 2022, I really hope to get things going, to kickstart things and upload consistently. I'm aiming for 5 days a week, but that will still be coming slowly. And I do have a new series coming. Hopefully still this week I'll upload it, and I will be sprinkling in a few interesting different videos, so please stay tuned to all of that. And like I said, it has been a tough time, but I appreciate all the likes, all the views, all the subscribers, and guys, thanks for sticking around. I am back now, and this channel I'm putting a lot of effort in, so please continue to watch. For now, here we go with Everton Career Mode again, guys. It's, like I said, Season 2, Episode 4. Here we go. Alright guys, so our first game is against Bournemouth. So far in the league, we've been doing quite well. 13 points in 5 games, so almost a full pool there. But the last few games have really been disappointing. We only managed the tie against Brentford, and that was thanks to last-minute heroics from Cantwell. And then we capitulated against Man Utd in the Carabao Cup. That was very disappointing. We came crashing out of that. We need to do better, and we need to bounce back, especially against Bournemouth here. They're a newly promoted side, so I fully expect a win here, even though it is an away game. Now, Bournemouth may not have quality that puts you to your knees, but they do have players who have the correct stats in the positions they need. Christie out wide is a very technical player who has a bit of pace. Solanke is a well-rounded striker with no real weaknesses. Like I said, he's not the greatest, but he can hold up play. He's a bit mobile. He has a finish on him, so very dangerous. Again, on the other wing, they have a very pacey winger, so they have those attributes that they need. In terms of their midfield, that's actually one of their stronger points. Lewis Cook has a very good pass on him, and he can start picking out these wide players with pace. That'll be very dangerous. They brought in Pavel, who again looks a very technical player, and Lerma is that more box-to-box player, so he's providing them with the legs in midfield, and it's a really good mix, to be honest. They have very pacey fullbacks, so they'll be able to sort of support the offense when needed, but they will probably, knowing Bournemouth, be maybe not as adventurous as some teams. Maybe their weakness is their center backs. They're average to below average for the Premier League, so maybe this is something we can exploit. Now, they're setting up in a 4-3-3. Honestly, I always remember Bournemouth setting up in a 4-3-3, even when Eddie Howe was there, so maybe not too much has changed. They'll probably play a free-flowing football they've got here, and they're going to try to be brave, especially at home. Now, the way we're going to set up is a 4-4-2, but honestly, it is a bit of a mixed bag here. There's a bit of an injury problem. Calvert-Lewin is out. There's a bunch of other players out, and I'm also rotating because there have been games coming every 3 days here. So Rodgers will step in at left back. It is a bit of an experimental squad, but I do think there's enough quality for us to get a win here. So let's go.
Stadium. Will you please make some noise as we welcome our visitors, Everton, and your Bournemouth.
Alright guys, so right from the kickoff, my plan was very simple. I tried to get it to Alan St. Maximin as much as possible, because with the depleted squad, I thought he was our main threat going forward, and I wanted to get him on the ball as much as possible. And I started running at the Bournemouth defense right from the get-go, and I had varying success with this. He did cause them some trouble, but honestly, Bournemouth did a very respectable job defending him. Here we go again. Mopai gets the ball, overlapping run from Alan St. Maximin, and I tried to drive at the defense, but they keyed in on him very fast. And honestly, they were doing this the entire game. They were actually very sound defensively in general. Here you can see they keep the line at the back, and their midfielders are very close to each other. They nip the ball, and they try to counter. So they did that very well, and when they did get the ball, they weren't just cheaply giving it away. They play a very decent brand of football. a lot of passing, and it's actually nice to watch. They are very patient, and here they try to make something happen. They move it around. Koulibaly marshals the defense as always. He is a beast. And what we tried to do in response to that was, again, just counter. And I tried to find Alan St-Maximin as much as possible. And this time, instead of going wide, I cut in like we do often in the Conceição system. He puts it out wide. And like I said, varying degrees of success, because this was a very decent opportunity. And Mopai, it was taken off his head. That was a very good chance. I was very satisfied with that. But unfortunately, it didn't go in. And Bournemouth played a nice, very fast vertical play here. Christie gets on the end of it, and he smashes it in, guys. 1-0. And I don't know, maybe I underestimated Bournemouth, although I saw this type of play coming. Maybe they're just playing really well on their day, but they get the first goal here, guys, and unfortunately, it's a situation where it's a newly promoted side, and we're going down 1-0 at halftime here. Honestly, I was hoping we'd come into the second half and actually show some fight, but we were so lethargic, and Bournemouth just kept on their momentum. They kept plucking away, playing their brand of football, passing it, and we were just like trees. And we let Lewis cook in here, and it's 2-0. Top corner, no chance for Pickford, but honestly, it's just shambles of a defense. We need to get tighter. We need to stop their passing play. It's just that simple, and we just did not do that. And honestly, at that point, I've had enough. And I decided it was time for some substitutions. We needed to bring on some quality. I brought on Townsend, Richarlison, and Phillips because we needed quality to get anything from this game. At this point, it was 2-0. And Bournemouth did not step off the gas. They were getting the chances, and we weren't. Here we go, Jefferson Lerma. Pickford has to make a save. And Christie just terrorized us on that right-hand side. That technical ability combined with a little bit of pace, and he just caused nightmares for Rodgers there. Jefferson Lerma on the end of this, and this could have been 3-0. It was a ricochet, it could have been 3-0, and they kept on coming. We were so lethargic. We didn't create anything in the second half. Bournemouth did, and Pickford was bailing us out. In the very last moments of the game, in added time, we finally had a decent opportunity off a mistake from Bournemouth. Richarlison picks it up, and he starts running. Honestly, we were missing this the entire game, his ability to run at defenses. Townsend gets it in, he slips it into Tony, and it's 2-1. But it's just a consolation goal because it was too little too late. We did a very poor job against Bournemouth here. Tony showed that he still has that finishing touch and he is on form, but honestly, that is about the only positive I can take from this game because we were just lethargic. We gave Bournemouth way too much of the ball and they grew in confidence, and we ended up losing this game 2-1, and it's so frustrating because we already had that tie against Brentford, the capitulation against Man United, and this just continues. The shambles in defense, and we have to get it sorted out. We're going to have a small team meeting right after this game because we do need to figure out what is going on, what is wrong. Okay, guys, it's been a disappointing run of form, certainly a disappointing run of at least 3 games here, and we need a team meeting to sort it out. I think there's a few problems. First and foremost, the rotation. I feel like there's too much rotation at once. We need to stick to maybe 2 or 3 players. I understand there's injuries and stuff that's out of our control, but we need to be able to have a core squad playing at all times and rotating more methodically. The other thing I think that's wrong is we're over-reliant on the skill of our players. They're obviously better now with better players being brought in, them developing, and maybe there's a tendency to play more individually. We need to stick to our system and maybe play a little bit more pragmatically. And having said that, our next game here against CSKA in the Champions League, I'm going to set up not in a 4-4-2, but in a 4-3-3. It's an away game. I want to play a little bit more cautiously and pragmatically here. Again, I'm sticking to the best squad I have currently. Calvert-Lewin's out. I'm going to play Cantwell. He's been playing so well. I'm going to play him on the left. Alan St-Maximin is tired. Other than that, Doucouré, Guendouzi, Phillips, that's a very, very strong midfield. That is the midfield that is currently in the best form and certainly provides the best mix. And we're going to try to play just a little bit more safely and stick to our system. Now, CSKA has some really decent players. They've got a proper target man up front, and that's going to anchor everything they do. And then they've playing a bit of a interesting mixed system, or at least that's what I'm seeing. Jagoyev out on the wide areas on the left is more of a playmaker out wide. They have on the right side a very pacey winger, and he's covered by a central defensive midfielder. So that's interesting. The other midfielders are very technical, so they're going to be providing a little bit more creativity from midfield, but specifically that right center mid, he's a defensive mid covering that very electric right winger. So it's an interesting system. There's not too much I know about their defense because the scouting hasn't come back yet, but from what it looks like, Fernandez is an excellent defender. He still has a yard of pace on him, and Fuchs is quite pacey, so it's not going to be a very easy time that we're going to have against him, especially since we lack Alan St. Maxim in this game. But we're going to try our best. We're setting up, like I said, in that 4-3-3, and just pragmatism, a hint of pragmatism is what maybe what the doctor ordered for this game. Okay, so I wanted to shore it up and stop the bleeding, especially get a handle on the amount of goals we're losing because it's just been ridiculous. So that's partly why I went with the 4-3-3 in this game. And honestly, I think it paid dividends because the way they played, we really needed that extra midfielder. And even with him, they were getting into such good positions and threatening so often. Pickford was called upon time and time again. For the first 15 minutes, honestly, it was such an onslaught. They didn't let us breathe. They were getting such good opportunities, and so many of them, that we were maybe lucky perhaps not to go 1-0 down. They had so many good opportunities from just these little pockets of space they were getting into, shots from distance, or just little tidy slide rule passes. They wait patiently, they play it in, and Pickford has to make another save, and it was constant. And they continued to pressure us. We had defensive woes from corners, which I guess is nothing new with us. It was just a very, very shaky start for us. But finally, we were able to calm it down and have our opportunity here. I call this pouncing on our opportunity. Alan St. Maximin is not in this game, but Cantwell did a very good job on the left-hand side here. He breaks, he passes a very nice tidy ball into Richarlison, who slips in Guendouzi, and it's 1-0, guys, totally against the run of play, but I will take it any way I can get it. And honestly, I'm really proud of this goal, and I think we deserve it because we set up just slightly more pragmatic, and we took our chance because we are playing away from home. And Guendouzi running in, that box-to-box with more offensive role, that late run into the box is exactly what I wanted him to do. But CSKA kept on coming. They really did. And another slide rule pass here. Pickford has to make a save with his foot. And that's how this game went. They were getting really, really dangerous opportunities, and we were trying our best to get whatever counter opportunities we could. This time, Gakpo gets it on the right-hand side. He cuts in, as he usually does, and Richarlison, maybe he shouldn't have stopped that, or maybe he should have had a go. Unfortunately, we weren't able to capitalize on that opportunity, and CSK, like I said, kept on coming. A slide rule pass in for that electric winger, and Pickford has to make another save. For the first part of the second half, guys, CSKA continued to play really good football. And I mean, look at this pass. That is just outstanding. Pickford has to make a save. And honestly, we are really lucky not to be down here. And they continued to terrorize us on that right-hand side with that electric winger they have. They found the pockets of space, and they had a number of opportunities in the second half as well. Pickford is just saving us the 3 points. And after 75 minutes, I decided to try to bring this 1-0 home. I brought on Holgate into the midfield, Davies to shore it up, and Mopai for some fresh legs up front. And we actually had a decent opportunity late on in the 80th minute. Doucouré gets it on the edge of the box, and he just drills it. And it hits the crossbar, falls to Richarlison to save. I mean, how did that not go in? How, on the basis of those two chances we just had, this one against the crossbar and this rebound from Richarlison, how are we not 2-0 up? I don't know, but that's how the game ends, guys. 1-0. We finally get a clean sheet. So I am very satisfied with this. Mixed feelings because they did dominate us, but 1-0 nonetheless, we shored it up. Alright, so 2 out of 2 wins in the Champions League so far, not bad. We're first in the group, and I really feel like we can retain this position with just a little bit of luck maybe, and a decent result at Camp Nou. I feel like it's very realistic to get first place in this group. That's a little bit of ways away. That game against Barcelona is in December for now. This is our upcoming schedule. We've got, in this episode, a game against Spurs and against West Ham. We're going to jump right in. And the game against Spurs, for me, it's really predictable. They're going to play as much as they can on that counter because they have the likes of Son and Bergwijn, and they're very fast. And I like to keep that in check. So in that case, Spurs usually plays around you with a lot of passes. And that's how I see this game playing out. That's how it's played out in the past few meetings. And we're just going to have to be very disciplined against Spurs because this is one of the best sides in terms of passing so far that I've played in this series. Now, it all revolves around Kane, and that's what makes this so potent because he's so good at finishing, but he can also drop, and he can play in those fast wingers, and he can also link up with the likes of the central midfielders in a passing system, and it's just so hard to play against. Now, like I said, Bergwijn and Son, they have lightning pace. Actually, they don't really play Son against me. In the past few meetings, they've played Lucas Moura and Bergwijn. Now they've brought in Salvio, a very similar type of player, just a pacey forward. So it's very interesting that they don't play Son. I think it's a bit foolish, but that's how they choose to play. Now, they anchor the midfield with Højbjerg. He screens the defense and allows the more creative midfielders like Lo Celso, Dembele, and they have a bunch on the bench as well, to do their thing. They have very high ratings in passing, and they really just pass around you, and it's very, very hard to play against. Very hard not to lose a goal against this. Now, they also have pretty much no weaknesses in the defensive side because they've got very fast and very strong fullbacks, and then at the same time, they have a partnership that they've created now. They brought in Romagnoli, and they've created Emerson into a CB, and this actually works very well with Emerson's extra pace and Romagnoli's more classic defensive style. It really meshes well for them. They're really difficult to play against. Now, we're going to go with a 4-4-2 just because we're at home, but I'm going to limit the rotation. Like I said, I'm going to play my strongest side here. Now, Calvert-Lewin's unavailable, so Tony will play, but I'm going with the tried and true. Phillips and Guendouzi were brought in to start in that CM, and that's what they're going to do. I'm going to play Holgate. It's a toss-up at this point between Holgate and Godfrey, but he will be paired with Koulibaly, and that's the lineup we're going to go with, the strongest one, and we're going to, again, try to be very disciplined and not lose a goal here because we need to stop leaking them just at this insane rate. All right, guys, here we go, Spurs.
Please make some noise as we welcome our visitors, Tottenham Hotspur, and your Everton.
I was thinking to myself before the game, I actually don't recall Kane scoring against me in this series. And I sort of regret saying that because it seemed like he came out with a point to prove. And he was out for blood. Pickford had to make an early save. But for me, the storyline was just how bad Guendouzi was in this first half. I mean, he was giving away possession like you see here. And then passes that he should have made, just tidy little passes. Nope. Just so shocking from him. Just so shabby. And then once Tottenham got the ball, I mean, you can see how well they pass and how dangerous they are. And then within the first 30 minutes, Guendouzi just makes a criminal error. I mean, look at this. He just stares while the runner goes past him. It's a free cross. It's a header from Salvio, and it's 1-0, and my blood is boiling because I hate when midfielders don't pick up their runners. They just stand there. Like Guendouzi, you have had the most appalling 30 minutes I've seen the entire season. That is just criminal. I mean, look at this. The runner runs right past you. You watch him. He has all the time in the world to cross, and it's the easiest finish, and it just boils the blood. And Tottenham continued to play their football, and you can see just how well they play around with the ball, and they're just so dangerous. And here we go again. They move it around very well. This time we defended, and we tried to counter. we tried to stay disciplined, and for the most part, the team was good defensively. It was only Guendouzi, but you're only as strong as your weakest link. Now, we managed to get a decent opportunity here. It was a great piece of ingenuity. Dean gets it. He waits it out. Tony finds himself in the box, and guys, it's 1-0, and what a season Ivan Toney has been having. 3 goals against Wolves, he scored against Bournemouth, and now here against Spurs, he finds himself in these beautiful positions, and he just slots it home. It's very simple play, but his positional awareness is just amazing. Spurs came out in the second half with a mission, and they attacked us straight from the get-go. And I've said this the past few games, I feel, but I wonder sometimes how we don't go down by like 2 goals. It just mystifies me, because sometimes the chances are so glaring, and like here, Pickford just saves us, or it's like dumb luck at times, because they have such good opportunities like this one here. I mean, this is just 9 out of 10 times it's buried, and somehow it doesn't go in. It just mystifies me sometimes. And we counter as best we can, and we have a golden opportunity here. Alan Saint-Maximin drives him. You can see Richarlison running, attracting the attention. Calvin Phillips just can't get there. That was a golden opportunity. The space was vacated. It was perfect. Now, Lloris clears. We get the ball here. Gakpo, Tony lays it off. A very simple pass. He gets it back from Phillips, and he just smashes it, guys, into the back of the net. This guy is in ridiculous form. Ever since Calvert-Lewin got injured halfway through the game, he comes and he scores a hat-trick against Wolves. Next game, scores against Bournemouth. This game, scores already twice against Spurs. That's 6 goals in 3 games. That is ridiculous. He is such a good addition, and he is proving he is worth every penny of that 17 or 18 million that I paid. We're up 2-1, guys, and I decide it's time to play a little bit more defensive. I bring on Doucouré, Townsend, because he's a little bit more of a defensive winger. At times, he has that high work rate, and I decide to also bring on Davies. I really wanted to shore it up. I feel like we've done decently defensively for the most part, apart from Guendouzi's shocking errors, and I feel like we can get a win here against Tottenham, but they just kept on coming. I mean, Tottenham had a number of good opportunities, and this time Kane and Bergwijn woke up. Pickford, again, just making save after save. We've been dodging bullets here, and perhaps this was the biggest bullet dodged. I mean, you can't give Kane that much space, but what a save from Jordan Pickford. He flies like a bird. That is going to be in the save of the season for sure. I mean, Kane should have scored this. What a strike that was, and he just flew for that ball. And he is keeping this at 2-1. And they get a corner, and this time Tottenham decides to play it short. They play around with it a little bit, and Ndombele has a little bit of a jiggle here, and he puts a very nice cross in. It's met this time by Ali, and Pickford makes another save. And that would be the end of it, guys. We didn't get much more opportunities, but neither did Tottenham. Pickford and Tony give us this win, 2-1, and that's a very tasty scalp for us against a very quality side, so I'm very satisfied. Alright, so after that win against Spurs, we are first in the league, guys. I know it's early on, but I thought it was nice to show in some interesting company with Leicester and Southampton at the top of the table with us. But we have the most points and the best goal difference, so it's positive stuff, guys. We've shorted up a little bit over the past 2 games. We've only lost that 1 goal. Okay, we haven't played the best, especially against CSKA, but only 1 goal conceded, so that's good, and we're going to try to keep that up here against West Ham. Again, there's not too much to show going on behind the scenes, so we're just going to jump into the game. There's not too much different with West Ham. The one noticeable difference is they changed their front line to be a little bit more pacey. They brought in Luis Muriel, Berenguer. Very pacey, guys. They're playing Vlasic in that 10 role, and he's supported by Suchek and Rice. They haven't got rid of them. That's a very solid midfield, high 80s, mid 80s. That's very, very potent. And their defense is also very good. They've got fullbacks who can put a cross in, and they've got a CB partnership in Ogbonna and now Manolas, who they brought in, who are solid in terms of just dealing with crosses, positional play, and this will not be an easy game. West Ham is always a tough opponent. I am sticking to the formula that has worked over the past few games, which is play a sensible formation with very little rotation. I'm going to play my strongest squad. Calvert-Lewin is back, so this is a massive boost. I'm playing Godfrey to counteract some of West Ham's pace, and that's it. That's the only changes I'm making. We're playing the strongest squad, and we're going to have a go against West Ham here, guys. Let's go.
Will you please make some noise as we welcome our visitors Everton and your hammers, West Ham United.
Okay, so game plans are all well and fine, but sometimes there's certain situations that happen in games out of your control that change the complexion of the game. Like this, for instance, Luis Muriel loses his mind. He turns on the lawnmower mode and he just completely obliterates Guendouzi. It's a red within the first 3 minutes. He just lost it. And that changes the whole complexion of the game because now West Ham is down to 10 men, and everything you talked about pre-game, it's going to be a completely different looking game. Now, to be fair, West Ham actually did really well early on, even down to 10 men, and they were quite threatening. Vlasic got on the ball a lot, and he tested Pickford early on. He had to make a good save. But slowly, and this is what typically happens during a game like this, is you press your advantage and you push them back, and this is exactly what happened. West Ham was pushed back, and you can see here just how far back they are. I mean, 8 guys, very nice, by the way, 2 lines, 2 banks of 4, but they're almost all in their box. And they're defending well, and West Ham did admirably, and they tried to counter, and that's kind of how you have to play. And early on, actually, West Ham had the better chances, which disappointed me because I thought we would have pressed our advantage, and we were lucky not to lose a goal because this free header should have been probably a goal. Now, we continued to press our advantage, and finally we were able to scrounge something up here. We bypassed the midfield with a nice dink ball. It falls to Guendouzi, and we play it around very cleverly, and it falls to Guendouzi. He threads the eye of the needle. It's Calvert-Lewin back from injury, guys. 3 guys around him, no problem, 1-0. And so happy for him. He's back. He's scoring within the first half. And Guendouzi, what a pass there. He turns. It's a very good goal. And now it becomes an impossible task for West Ham because now they're down a man and they're down a goal. And they had a golden opportunity here. That should have been a shot. I'm not sure why he passed, but again, we press and we counter, and we have a very decent opportunity. Like I said, the play opens up. Calvert-Lewin, very nice pass to Gakpo. He tries to dink it. Didn't work this time. We started off the second half like we ended the first, guys. Calvert-Lewin link-up play to Richarlison, and he bangs it in. It's 2-0, guys. We were missing this so much. That link-up play between Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison running on the end of these, drifting wide, and wow. I know it's West Ham down to 10 men, but to see these guys link up again, they were injured in the first part of the season. Oh, it's just so good. And Richarlison puts it in the back of the net. We are flying, guys, and I thought at this point it was time to make some substitutions. I brought off Calvert-Lewin. I didn't want to push him too much in the first game back. Tony deserved to have some minutes, and I changed the formation, brought on Cantwell, but changing the formation doesn't mean it's more defensive. With Cantwell, it's actually quite potent. Now, West Ham, like I said, they played very decently for being 10 men down, and they had their chance here. They moved it around well, and they slipped in a pass just onside, and Pickford had to make a really good save. They had another chance here, and they continued to press. To be fair, West Ham might have deserved the goal this game, but they didn't get it here. It was a very nice Bicey, and it just didn't go in. We brought on Mopai, and he had his chance. Guendouzi, what a ball here for Mopai. I mean, that's what Guendouzi can do when he's not busy being an idiot. And it's a save, but what a pass from Guendouzi. This is what he has in his locker. This is why we brought him in. We get the ball back, and we have another chance here. We pull it out wide. Again, it's Guendouzi pulling the strings, Dean, a very tantalizing cross, and it's just wide from Tony. That would have capped a very good performance, but nonetheless, guys, we get the 2-0 win here. That's 3 wins this episode and a clean sheet. I'm very happy. Guys, thank you so much for sticking with me. I know it's been a while since I uploaded. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time, guys. Laters.